Okay, I see we're recording. We're good to go. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. My name's Abby Stamp. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm Measure 110 Executive Director for the Oregon Health Authority, and I will be assisting Zeb with facilitation for today's meeting. The Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes and encourages community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments or to get on our interested parties email list by emailing oha.measure110@oha.oregon.gov. That email address and more information about the council could be found on the Measure 110 OAC website. OAC members have asked that OHA and other staff who are present in the meeting space please introduce themselves in the chat. Please share your role with the agency, and if you are subject matter expertise, your area of expertise. I'll now turn it over to Zeb for opening remarks.
Thank you, Abby. I'm Zeb Payne, one of the tri-chairs. And so today we have Josephine County that we're going to take a look at. And there was some things that needed to be adjusted. So we're going to take a look at some slides, and we shouldn't take up too much of your day doing so. But that's kind of what we got on the agenda today. So I guess next would be roll call. Do we do roll call next? Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Zeb. Me.
Here.
Amy.
Here.
Dharma.
Here.
Hubert.
Here.
Keisha.
Here.
Leticia is excused. Linda.
Here.
Mason. Melissa. Morgan. Brian.
Here.
Sabrina is excused. Zeb.
Here.
Sam. You can put it in the chat too, Sam. Annalise.
Here.
And as soon as Sam confirms she's here, we'll be at quorum with 10. Okay, she is here and we're at quorum with 10. Back to you, Zeb.
All right. Do we have the slides ready to go? Okay. So who gets to present the slides?
I am bringing them up just one moment.
Right. So is there any call for conflicts for Josephine County? Now would be the time to state that.
Can I assist, Zeb?
Yeah.
So I want to call folks' attention to the 7 providers on the top right, which are options for Southern Oregon, On Track, Adapt, Grace Roots, HIV Alliance, Max's Mission, and the Family Nurturing Center. And Dharma.
Yes, I have an actual conflict of interest with the HIV Alliance. Thanks.
And Zeb, may I ask a question? Okay, it's for Allison. The conversation today is not about HIV Alliance in any way. The 3 providers we're going to be talking about are options for Southern Oregon, On Track, and Adapt. Will Dharma be unable to vote, or can you help clarify when we're not talking about the county as a whole?
So we're not allowed to answer questions about whether there's a conflict of interest. And so I think that if there's a question of whether there's a conflict of interest, we'll have to refer that to the Oregon Ethics Commission number.
Thanks, Allison. And
Sorry about that.
I know that answer. I just, for forgot it temporarily. Okay, thank you. I was trying to be thoughtful because it's a strange dynamic not having the whole county on deck for today. So thank you, Dahmer, for calling that out. Are there any other potential or actual conflicts of interest with these providers? Thank you. Zeb, do you want me to take it away and discuss the situation? All right. All right, thank you. So the Measure One team has been hard at work negotiating your funding decisions with the 234 awardees. It has been an amazing and kind of, it's been wild. It's been fast and furious. Well, I say deliberative and thoughtful and fast to get this done, to make sure that we can get the grant agreement signed and complete and that services can begin on July 1st. So through this process, we did identify some challenges in Josephine County. I want to summarize them for you today. First, we identified some gaps. The negotiation process, which had folks submit updated budgets and service areas, because remember, you all voted that you wanted providers to get their awards, their not to exceed or NTE amounts, and say, thank you for the award, OAC. This is what we can accomplish. Not what's in our application. It's going to have to pivot because most of the time it was less. So those recalculations that you all completed in late March resulted in inequitable awards for the 3 providers we'll talk about today. And I'll show an illustration to help visualize what that is, that inequity. The second gap and challenge we identified is that screening. So all of the organizations that had applied to do screenings in Josephine County dropped screenings from their proposals because of lack of capacity and funding to do that. And that left just one organization doing it, but at a pretty minimal amount. Housing. Number 3, ADAPT did not, ADAPT had applied to fund housing, which would be to provide the ongoing operations for both transitional and emergency housing through their program. And this is housing that the OAC granted that ADAPT in Josephine County purchase. So the actual brick and mortar was facilitated through your funding decisions last time, and then moving forward was for ADAPT wanting to operationalize and continue funding the staffing to continue to provide those housing services in Josephine County. Their award as of late March would have only allowed for 6 housing units to remain open. And for substance use disorder, SUD, Options for Southern Oregon only applied for SUD. And needed to tweak their offerings in order to comply better with state rules. The Oregon administrative rules about SUD are pretty clear and differentiate from peers or harm reduction. And we just wanted to make sure that their counter proposal to us was more compliant with state rule. And then finally, On Track, who did propose to do SUD or substance use disorder services, really didn't get an award big enough to uplift that. So we were feeling some gaps in SUD and some gaps in housing. So any questions before I move on to the next summary page? Okay, great. Thanks, Carly. Next slide. So here's an illustration back to our tables. You can see here, ADAPT, On Track, and Options for Southern Oregon are the 3 providers we're talking about today. What you're seeing here are the application service areas. So you'll see that both ADAPT and On Track applied to serve Josephine County residents in all 6 service areas. And you'll see that Options for Southern Oregon only applied for SUD. And the awards, because they were based on that consistent methodology used over and over again on last funding cycle's award, is where we came to a bit of a head with these 3 providers. And you see the inequity here. You see that ADAPT and On Track actually got an award for the same amount for all 6 service areas. So it's like, great, same award, 6 service areas, that's great. But if you look at Options for Southern Oregon, with 1 service area, their award was about $1.5 million than the other 2 awards for ADAPT and On Track. So you just look at this, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And what we found through the offerings is that options for Southern Oregon really didn't have a clear description of how $2.66 million would be able to really meaningfully provide SUD services and treatment that fall under Measure 110. And I think a lot of what we're experiencing and hearing back from providers is Medicaid and other resources really can't cover so much. And so that didn't fit well. And so I first reached out to my leadership, kind of vetted all of this with the grant admins and kind of assessed kind of the situation we had on the ground. And so then I reached out to I reached out to Options to talk to them about their award. And then we also were working with Adapt and On Track about kind of what they were seeing. So next slide. So if you recall how we were proceeding forward is, right, we gave a letter to, Adapt. Hey, Adapt, you got $1.14 million. Let us know what you're going to be able to do with those dollars. Thank you to Adapt for still wanting to do all 6 service areas with that award, but all of the milestones were really reduced quite a bit. So still covering all the areas, but the service was very much had to be thinned out pretty significantly. And with the response that our team got from you doing? And the gray is what folks said, no, I'm sorry, we don't have enough money to do it. And then Options for Southern Oregon, I already mentioned, we needed to work with them to make sure that their proposal and their programming fit better with the Oregon administrative rules. So this is what we received after those intent to award letters went out. Any questions about this? Next slide. So this didn't feel right. This didn't feel like the funds were distributed well enough to cover and have a robust burn for Josephine County. So here's a potential solution. And we have already done all of the legwork if this is something you all would like to see. And if not, of course, y'all tell us how you want to manage this. The proposal in front of us today is to move $1 million out of the Options for Southern Oregon budget and move half, 500,000 each, to both Adapt and to On Track. So what that would be able to do for Adapt is they would be able to make their housing offering much more robust, and which would fund not 6, but 15 supportive and transitional housing units that Measure 110 previously purchased. And another $500,000 for substance use disorder services at On Track would ensure more SUD services for Josephine County. It would fund more clinic intake staff, Spanish outreach and assessment, and barrier removal for SUD clients. And then Options for Southern Oregon did resubmit another budget that really beautifully funded CADCs and other real direct SUD services for their remaining dollars. So this is the potential possible solution if the OAC feels like this is a better option than what we were working with previously. And I think there's one more image I created. So this is what the potential solution would be. So Adapt again will continue to cover all 6 service areas and will be able to increase the housing by more than double. On Track would reinstate being able to provide SUD services for Josephine County, and Options for Southern Oregon created a more modest proposal, but also made sure that CADCs, or Certified Alcohol, I'm trying not to use acronyms, Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselors would be funded for that community. And so what you see on the right side are the potential updated awards. So you'll see the Adapt award could be $1,640,000, which is a plus 500,000 from their original award. And then On Track the same, their updated award, if you agree, would be $1.64 million, just like Adapt, which is an additional 500,000. You see that grayed out on the right. And then options for Southern Oregon would be $1,660,000, which is $1 million less than their award. And now what you're seeing is a little bit more equity between those providers and their awards, and spreading the services around to a more of a network, if I may call the burn a network, to help space out and provide more robust services, particularly in housing and SUD in Josephine County. And I think, there are potential motions if you all want to endeavor to move forward with this, or if you have a potential different solution, or if you just want to stick to what you voted on originally. I wanted to open it up for questions or for any clarification needed about the situation we're in today. And I hope my description was clear enough.
The members of the burn have already seen this adjustment and agreed to it.
Yes, they have.
Thank you.
Let me clarify, Ryan. These three providers, we already have adjusted budgets. We have two pathways we can move forward with, and have had all of the legwork and conversations. That I haven't discussed this with the rest of the providers. That seemed not necessary.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I prepared a couple of motions if you want to take a look. Zeb is nodding. This basically says, yes, do it, and go send an updated intent to award letter and get rolling. Thank you very much. So this is proposed motion 1, and then the second one, sorry, the first one is for adapt, and the next one is the same, but is for on track.
So Abby, I have a question. So if we like these, then we would propose motion 1, vote on it, and then propose motion 2 and vote on it.
Yeah, because it's two different organizations, so it's just
Okay.
two different motions.
All right. So I can say thank you, Abby, to you and your team for this amazing work on here. I like what I see, but I'd like to get everybody's thoughts before we propose the motion. But I like it. Linda?
Yeah, I like this as a good mechanism for making sure all the services are covered and making the amounts more equitable. So appreciate all the creative problem solving.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Do you want anybody who wants to go ahead and move forward with the motion?
Sure, I can move to add $500,000 to ADAPT's award for housing in Josephine County's burn, and for OHA to send an updated intent to award letter as soon as possible.
I second.
Okay, Linda moves, Ed seconds. Discussion? Okay, Carly, we do a vote, please.
On me, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Zeb,
Yes.
and that passes with 7. Let me pull up the other motion.
I'm trying to help. I put it in the chat, which is the same verbiage, just a different provider and different service area. Happy to have Carly put the screen back up, but I thought this would be quicker.
I'd like to make a motion to move to add $500,000 to on-tracks award for SUD and Josephine County's burn, and for OHA to send an updated intent to award letter as soon as possible.
Second.
Zeb moves and Linda seconds. Any discussion on this one? Okay, Carly.
Mia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Zeb.
Yes.
And that passes with 7.
Thank you. If I may, Zeb, just to extend my appreciation for everybody's responsiveness to Carly to come together so quickly. I didn't want to wait a week. We really wanted to get this done. And we're managing a couple more sticky situations, and every time they come up, we'll have possible solutions to present, and we'll call you back together to make sure that you're have the tools you need to make the decisions. And I would like to call out to Hubert to say thank you for your 2 p.m. deadline. That is a joke, sort of, kind of. It is 1:59. And just thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Zeb, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Unless somebody has anything to say, we can go ahead and end today's meeting and give you back your day. Sound good? All right. Everybody, you have a good week.